A loved one who passed away is trying to warn you. Archangel Michael says, "My beloved child, you weren't supposed to hear this tonight, but someone who loved you refused to stay silent. Even now, as your eyes move across these words, the air around you is shifting. You can almost feel it, a faint chill brushing the back of your neck, the softest scent of a familiar perfume, the echo of a song you haven't heard in years. That's not coincidence. That's permission." Archangel Michael says, "Stop scrolling." They've been given permission to speak. Heaven opened this moment for you. A gate has been unlocked, not forever, just for now. Heaven has stretched a thread of light between two realms so that love could finish what death could not. This is not haunting. This is holy interference. A soul who once walked beside you has stepped to the edge of eternity to whisper a warning. Take a deep breath. The room may feel heavier because a presence has entered it, gentle, protective, familiar. They've waited for this. You've cried their name in the dark, and tonight, they finally heard you clearly enough to answer. You may have noticed strange signs lately, lights flickering when you're alone, a chill in a warm room, a number that repeats everywhere you look, or the way their name shows up at impossible moments. Those are not memories haunting you. Those are messages breaking through the veil. Michael says, heaven is not far, it's layered. Right now, one layer has been lifted. For the next few minutes, time belongs to heaven. There's a 24-hour window where the divine reaches closer than usual. That's why your heart feels both heavy and electric. It's why your body feels still while your spirit stirs. Heaven is watching who stays, who listens, who believes. Don't scroll. This is not an ordinary message. This is a spiritual emergency wrapped in love. Someone you lost is fighting for your attention, not because they're trapped, but because you are. They've seen what's forming around you. Choices, faces, opportunities, and something inside them couldn't rest until they spoke. It's not to frighten you. It's to protect you. You've prayed for a sign. This is it. They're whispering, please listen this time. Their energy carries a mixture of peace and urgency. You may even feel your heartbeat change rhythm. That's your spirit responding. You've entered sacred territory now, where memory becomes message and grief becomes instruction. Michael says, this is heaven's mercy window. They beg to deliver this warning because the next chapter of your life depends on it. Maybe you've been feeling tired without reason. Maybe you felt watched, unsettled, or suddenly emotional over old memories. That's not weakness. That's your spirit recognizing a call from beyond. Heaven has records, living records, and your name has just been highlighted in gold. Something you were about to do, someone you were about to trust, or a path you were about to take carries a hidden danger. And before that danger could manifest, heaven intervened. This loved one, the one whose laughter you can still remember, whose voice still echoes when you least expect, is standing beside Michael now. They are radiant, not fragile. Peaceful, not restless. They have seen your life unfold like chapters, and they have asked heaven to give them one last word before the next page turns. Michael says, they refused silence. They requested mercy. You might wonder why tonight. Why now, after all this time? Because there's a divine pattern unfolding in your life that mirrors theirs. The same trap, the same kind of person, the same shadow dressed as light. And they cannot let you repeat the pain they once carried. If you've been having dreams that feel too real, if you wake up at 3:14 a.m. with tears in your eyes and a name on your lips, if certain songs or scents make you suddenly feel seen, it's not nostalgia. It's navigation. Heaven's trying to reroute your steps before something irreversible happens. Michael says, you have 14 days. What you decide within them will define your next 14 months. That's why this message reached you now, not yesterday, not next week. You are in the threshold, a divine crossroads. One decision could shift your entire destiny. Pause for a moment. Feel that warmth moving through your hands or the chill that lingers near your shoulder. That's confirmation. This isn't about fear. It's about remembrance. Heaven remembers promises you forgot. The one who loved you most in life made a vow before leaving, I'll protect them until they finish their purpose. Tonight, that vow has come due. You might sense tears rising without reason, let them. Every tear releases spiritual static so the message can reach you clearly. You may even whisper their name now. When you do, peace will answer. Michael says, when your heart trembles, that's the sound of heaven entering. The next few moments will unfold slowly, like a veil parting. You will remember things you didn't know you remembered. Faces. Words. Regrets. But stay calm, heaven is guiding this. You are not alone. They want you to know something sacred. Their last thought before crossing was not about their pain. It was about you. Their unfinished promise was to keep you safe from what's coming. This message is that promise being fulfilled. Heaven watches how you respond. They're observing who listens with their soul and who dismisses it as chance. But you stayed. That means the message is meant for you. If your chest feels warm or your eyes sting, it's because your soul recognizes the truth before your mind does. That's the language of spirit. Michael says, good, you stayed. The message begins now. Type Amen 444 if your spirit can feel the shift right now. A stillness enters the room, and for the first time in a long time, you feel them. Not as memory, but as presence. You're standing at the edge of something divine. They whisper through the silence, don't be afraid of what you'll hear next. Because the next part will make everything make sense. Type Amen 777 if you're ready to hear what heaven is revealing. And softly say, I'm listening, Lord. The air hasn't settled since the last words faded. You still feel it, that strange peace laced with electricity. It's as if the walls around you remember what was just spoken. Even the silence feels alive. And then, softly, almost like breath on your skin, you hear it again, a whisper of your name. Archangel Michael says, yes. That's them. You felt their nearness before, in dreams, in silence, in the moments when the air shifts for no reason. Tonight is not your imagination. It's recognition. Your heart tightens. Suddenly, flashes of memory move through you, their laugh, their favorite saying, the way their hand once fit perfectly around yours. You remember that day you spoke to them without words, when your heart simply knew they were listening from somewhere beyond sight. That wasn't a coincidence. It was rehearsal for this moment. They've been preparing you for this connection for months, maybe even years. Every flicker of light, every repeated song, every time you caught the faint smell of something they loved, those were the breadcrumbs of heaven. You weren't being haunted, you were being guided. Michael says, the human mind calls it coincidence. The spirit knows it's contact. Think about the sleepless nights when you felt watched over instead of alone. The times when a chill passed through you just before something bad almost happened. The moments when you whispered, "I wish you were here," and suddenly the atmosphere calmed. Those were not memories, those were interventions. Heaven remembers every prayer you never finished. Every tear that fell before you could say the words. The loved one who's reaching for you tonight has been present in those unfinished prayers, standing beside Michael, saying your name again and again until heaven allowed this connection. You were not forgotten. You were being protected. Type Amen 1111 if you've ever felt their presence when no one else was around. Michael's voice deepens, calm, steady, filled with light. They left the earth carrying a promise: I'll watch over them until they walk free. But their time to intervene directly is short. Heaven opens windows, not doors. And this window is open right now. You might wonder why they're being so urgent. Because you're standing near something they once faced, a familiar pattern, a person wearing a kind smile but carrying hidden intent, a situation that mirrors what once broke them. They see history circling back, and they refuse to let it consume you. You may notice memories surfacing tonight that you didn't plan to recall, moments of tension, confusion, or sudden emotion. That's not pain returning. That's revelation rising. Heaven is aligning timelines, helping you see the invisible thread that connects what was to what could be if you don't listen. Michael says, when heaven warns, it's never to scare, it's to spare. Now the loved one's voice breaks through the quiet. It feels like wind and warmth at the same time. My dear one, I tried to tell you before I left. There were things I saw, people I mistrusted, words I wanted to say but couldn't. I never wanted you to carry the same wounds I carried. I prayed God would send you angels. And He did. That's why Michael stands beside you tonight. You close your eyes. You can almost hear them, not as echo, but as energy, vibrating through your spirit. Their tone feels familiar, like a heartbeat you once knew. They continue, I watched you cry thinking I was gone. I wasn't. I was learning how to reach you without breaking heaven's law. I followed your steps through grief, through confusion, through every night you questioned if I was proud of you. I am. But I'm here now because danger is circling close again, and I know what it looks like. The light around you shifts, silver at first, then gold. You feel a slight pressure, like someone placing a gentle hand on your shoulder. Peace floods in. Michael says, you are not imagining this. Heaven documents every heartbeat of love, and right now, the record of their devotion is being played before the throne. They want you to remember something. Just before they passed, they thought of you. Their last thought was not of fear, but of your safety. They whispered your name into the air, and that sound has never stopped vibrating through creation. Every time you breathe, you inhale a fragment of that vow. You may even feel warmth spreading across your chest now. That's their love translating through energy. Don't be afraid of it. Receive it. Type Amen 333 if you can feel that warmth right now. Michael continues, there's a reason this is happening now. Heaven moves in patterns, and yours is entering a 14-day cycle of transformation. What you see in these days will determine your next 14 months. Pay attention to signs, repeating numbers, sudden dreams, unexpected messages, or the way peace falls after prayer. Those are confirmations that this moment was real. You swallow hard because something inside you knows he's telling the truth. You've already seen the numbers. You've already felt the pull. The loved one's voice returns, softer now, trembling with compassion. Promise me you won't ignore this. You are standing where I once stood. I lost too much by trusting too quickly, forgiving too easily, staying where God told me to leave. Please don't repeat my story. My love for you didn't end, it evolved. That's why heaven sent me here, to keep you from the same sorrow. You whisper, I hear you, even though no sound escapes your lips. And yet, a hush answers back, almost like the air sighing in relief. Michael says, the veil between you grows thin because obedience is near. The moment you decide to listen, heaven multiplies protection. He pauses, then adds gently, they're proud of how far you've come. You survived what tried to erase you. But survival isn't the end, wisdom is. The air vibrates softly, and in that stillness, you feel a quiet promise being rewritten inside your spirit. The presence fades slightly, not gone, just waiting, as if preparing you for what's next. Michael's tone changes again, more solemn now. The message you've received is only the beginning. They showed you love's proof. Now comes love's warning. Type Amen 777 if you're ready to hear what heaven reveals next. Heaven's light bends gently in your direction. Something within you shifts, you no longer feel alone. The next breath feels purposeful, sacred, weightless. And from that stillness, Michael's voice echoes once more, stay very still. The truth you've waited for is about to unfold. You stay still, not out of fear, but reverence. The air around you feels charged, as though every molecule is listening. Something sacred is preparing to unfold. You can almost sense time pausing, waiting for heaven's next breath. Archangel Michael's voice comes through like steady thunder wrapped in calm. They asked heaven for permission to keep watch, and it was granted. What you feel right now is not imagination. It's continuation. You swallow hard. The words hit deeper than you expect. Continuation. That means love didn't end with their last heartbeat. It transformed into light, and that light has been circling your path ever since. Your thoughts drift back to the day they left. You remember the silence, the hospital room or the phone call, the way your soul seemed to fold in on itself. But then, you also remember a moment, just before the news reached you, when you felt an unexplainable peace, as if something inside whispered, they made it safely. That whisper wasn't your mind comforting itself. It was the beginning of their promise. Michael says, heaven allowed them to watch over what their love began. That includes you. Suddenly, memories flash in front of your inner eyes like scenes on sacred glass, their last smile, their voice trembling with something they couldn't say, the faint look in their eyes that seemed to carry both love and unfinished truth. You didn't realize it then, but that look was a message, a prophecy wrapped in goodbye. You hear their voice now, clear as memory but alive as presence, my beloved. I couldn't speak it back then. But I saw something. There was a person, a promise, a plan that wasn't what it seemed. I didn't have the strength to confront it, but heaven promised me you would. A tremor moves through you. It's not fear, it's recognition. You know exactly what they're referring to. You've been sensing that something or someone around you carries a hidden motive. You've been ignoring the intuition, brushing it off as paranoia. But heaven doesn't exaggerate, it warns. Type Amen 999 if you can feel heaven confirming what your spirit already knew. Michael continues, you have felt the pull, that small unease that rises when you're near a certain voice or name. That is your spirit's alarm. Heaven is repeating what your loved one already saw before they departed. The loved one's voice grows firmer now, still full of love, but edged with divine seriousness. They used my silence back then to twist the truth. But that cycle ends with you. My story will not repeat itself through your life. That's why heaven opened this veil tonight, not to remind you of pain, but to rewrite legacy. You inhale sharply. The air feels thick with meaning. You see flashes, a hidden letter, an old photograph, a moment from years ago that never made sense. Suddenly, dots begin to connect. You remember their unfinished instructions, the strange warning they gave before they left, the uneasy tone when they mentioned someone close. It all aligns now. Michael says, heaven never wastes pain. Every unspoken word becomes revelation in divine time. You can almost see it, a golden scroll unfurling in the air before you, glowing words forming across it. Names, dates, and a promise sealed in light. It's like heaven's record keeper has turned a page in front of your eyes. Then Michael adds, they left you something unseen, not an object, but a covering. It activates when you walk in truth. Every time you obey divine prompting, that covering grows stronger. Every time you ignore it, darkness presses closer. So listen. You feel warmth spreading up your arms, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. It's gentle, but unmistakable. Your loved one speaks again, voice trembling with emotion. I've watched you carry guilt that was never yours. I've seen you blame yourself for what broke after I left. Let that go. None of this was your fault. I prayed that God would give you wisdom beyond pain, and now you have it. But use it. Don't waste discernment on nostalgia. Protect your peace. Tears fall before you can stop them. It's not sadness anymore. It's release. For the first time, grief feels lighter, like it's turning into strength. Michael says, the pain that once buried you is now becoming your signal tower. What once silenced you will soon speak through you. He pauses, as if letting heaven's silence breathe between the sentences. Then he declares, you are not who you were when they left. You are the version heaven was preparing. This next season is not about survival, it's about assignment. Assignment. The word vibrates through you like a bell. Your loved one whispers, there's something you're meant to finish. Something I began but couldn't complete. It's not a burden. It's a continuation. A ministry. A purpose. A healing. You'll know it when you see it because peace will confirm it. The images come, you helping someone through pain you once knew, you speaking words that once saved you, you choosing peace instead of retaliation. That's it. That's how legacy turns to mission. Type Amen 222 if you receive that assignment right now. Michael's voice deepens with reverence. Every word spoken from heaven requires response. And your response tonight decides the strength of your protection tomorrow. The cycle that tried to steal your lineage ends with obedience. You feel your shoulders relax. The weight that's pressed there for years seems to lift. The energy in the room softens, shimmering between light and warmth. Your loved one adds one final message for this moment. I don't just watch over you, I war for you. Every time you prayed through tears, I stood beside Michael, whispering your name into the light. Every victory you've had was heaven's way of keeping my promise. You whisper softly, I believe you. And as those words leave your lips, something shifts, the air vibrates, and the heaviness turns into clarity. Michael says, good. Because believing opens doors that grief once closed. He pauses, his tone gentler now. The time for warning has come. But this time, you will not hear it through pain, you will hear it through power. Type Amen 555 if you're ready for heaven's full revelation. You take a deep breath. The golden light fades to a softer hue, wrapping you in calm. Somewhere in the unseen, wings stir. The veil ripples one more time. Michael's voice echoes faintly through the silence, do not fear what comes next. It is not an ending. It is an unveiling. The light that once comforted you now grows sharper, like the dawn breaking through heavy clouds. Your body feels weightless, but your spirit senses a tightening, a holy seriousness filling the air. The atmosphere is no longer soft, it's alert. Heaven is watching. Archangel Michael's voice enters, no longer tender but commanding, listen carefully. You are about to trust someone who hides behind light but carries darkness. Their words may sound kind, their timing may feel perfect, but their spirit is counterfeit. The temperature shifts slightly, not cold, just alerting. The hairs on your arms rise as your intuition wakes up. You know heaven's tone when you hear it. The peace of moments ago has turned into prophecy. Michael continues, the same pattern that wounded your loved one is trying to repeat itself through your life. The same kind of person, the same manipulation, the same spiritual disguise. Heaven won't allow it this time, if you listen. Your heartbeat slows. Scenes start replaying in your mind, moments where you ignored the uneasy feeling, conversations that left your spirit drained, a face that smiled but made your soul feel smaller. It's not paranoia. It's pattern recognition. The voice of your loved one enters again, soft but trembling. I knew this energy. It once wore friendship, once wore romance, once wore care, but underneath, it was hunger. It wanted control, not connection. I ignored the warnings until it cost me everything. Don't make the same mistake. You feel your throat tighten. Tears rise, but this time not from sadness, from realization. How many times did your gut whisper, something's off, and you silenced it out of kindness? Michael says, kindness without discernment becomes a doorway to destruction. Mercy is holy only when it aligns with truth. Type Amen 111 if you can feel the warning hitting your spirit right now. The silence in your room deepens. You sense angelic presence, not soft, but protective, like sentinels forming a circle. The air vibrates with invisible authority. Heaven is here to expose what's been hidden. Michael continues, there is someone who watches you, studies you, mirrors you. They present light but carry shadows. You've noticed it, the sudden closeness, the overfamiliar tone, the strange mix of comfort and confusion. That's the disguise. They wear your language to win your trust. Your loved one whispers, that's the one who almost destroyed me. They wear compassion as costume. They use emotion as entry. Don't open what heaven closed. It hits you like a quiet explosion, a name surfaces in your mind. The one you've been doubting but didn't want to judge. The person who appeared right after your breakthrough began. You feel your pulse in your hands. Heaven just named it. Michael says, heaven doesn't expose to shame. It exposes to save. Your eyes sting again, but this time, tears are cleansing, releasing the fog that confusion left behind. You realize that discernment isn't cruelty, it's protection. Michael continues, within the next 7 days, this person's words will reveal contradiction. Listen. Watch how they twist sincerity into guilt, how they use flattery to erase your boundaries. Do not confront in anger. Simply withdraw. I will handle the rest. You feel a strange strength returning, the kind you haven't felt in months. The heaviness in your chest begins to lift. It's as though your spirit is standing taller. Type Amen 888 if you choose to obey heaven's warning right now. The loved one's presence grows brighter, radiant, peaceful, no longer trembling. They speak again, I begged God to let me come tonight because you're standing where I once fell. I trusted the wrong spirit wrapped in love. And it cost me more than you know. But heaven has given you what I lacked. Awareness. The air hums softly, and for a moment, you feel a pressure over your heart, not heavy, but firm, as if a hand is blessing you. Michael says, the danger loses power the moment truth is recognized. Darkness feeds on denial. You've just starved it. Suddenly, you remember something strange that happened recently. A dream where you saw a door closing, or a voice saying, don't answer that call. At the time, you thought it was just imagination. Now you understand, it was the pre-warning. Heaven always whispers before it intervenes. The presence around you intensifies, like wind moving through invisible wings. You hear Michael's voice again, clear and absolute. The deception will crumble publicly if you remain silent privately. You don't need to defend yourself. Truth defends itself in time. The loved one's tone turns tender again. You've carried too much guilt for saying no. But no is sacred when yes would destroy you. Protect your light. Guard your peace. Heaven is already rewriting your path. You will not be trapped again. You close your eyes. For the first time, you feel divine authority flowing through you, not just peace, but power. Your loved one's energy feels lighter now, as if their mission is nearing completion. Michael says, you have passed the hardest test, to listen when truth costs comfort. Now heaven will confirm what was spoken. The sound around you changes again, a low hum fades into silence. The light grows warmer, golden, gentle. The warning has been delivered. The gate begins to close. Before it does, your loved one speaks one final time, when you see a feather fall unexpectedly, or when peace fills a moment that once held fear, that's me, reminding you you're safe. I didn't come to scare you. I came to end what hurt us both. Their words fade into the air, but the feeling remains, like a sacred imprint. Michael's final declaration for this moment: you are under divine surveillance now. Every plot, every lie, every hidden motive is being exposed by light. Within 48 hours, you will see the first sign. When it happens, remember, heaven keeps its promises. Type Amen 444 if you trust heaven's protection tonight. The wind softens. The glow fades. And all that remains is stillness, the kind that feels like safety. The air that once trembled with tension now feels softer, lighter, as if heaven has exhaled. You can sense the atmosphere around you clearing, the heaviness lifting from your shoulders. The light has changed again, no longer silver, no longer sharp, but golden and warm, like morning after a long storm. Archangel Michael's tone is gentler now. The battle has ended. What was meant to harm you has been identified, and heaven has sealed your name in protection. You have obeyed the warning, and that obedience has rewritten your destiny. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you feel your heartbeat slow into peace. The room feels holy, quiet, alive, safe. Then, that familiar energy, your loved ones, returns. But this time, it's different. It's not urgent, not pleading. It's radiant. It feels like sunlight wrapping you in an embrace. They whisper through the stillness, it's done. The danger has passed. You listened. You changed the ending of our story. A warmth spreads through your chest, rising gently until it fills your eyes with tears. These tears don't sting, they heal. You feel love, not human, but divine love, pure and without distance. Michael says, they are safe. Radiant. Fulfilled. Tonight they fulfilled their final promise, to keep you safe. And heaven rejoiced. You can almost see it, your loved one smiling, not as you last saw them, but renewed, younger, freer, glowing with peace. They stand beside Michael, wings of light behind them, a symbol of mission complete. You whisper, thank you, and somehow, the air whispers it back. Michael continues, they asked me to deliver one last message, not of warning, but of blessing. A hush falls again, and you hear it clearly, my beloved, I want you to live now. Not just breathe, live. Laugh again without guilt. Love without fear. Pray not from desperation but from joy. I've been watching you survive. Now I want to watch you shine. Your body trembles softly. It feels like every wound that's been open for years is finally beginning to close. Michael says, grief served its time. Now joy must take its place. Type Amen 777 if you can feel that peace washing over your soul right now. You sit in that silence for a while. There's no rush, no fear, just calm. You realize that this connection was never about death. It was always about continuity. Love never ended. It simply changed language. Michael speaks again, his voice filled with strength and compassion. Heaven is now sealing you in restoration. The very light that carried their soul now covers your path. Every attack against your peace, your mind, your home, has been intercepted. What was meant to repeat will now reverse. The next 14 days will unfold with signs of renewal. You inhale deeply. The air tastes different, cleaner somehow. You feel your spirit widening, like light filling a new room. The loved one's voice returns, peaceful, steady, proud. Do you see now? I was never gone. I was just waiting for you to rise. Every time you cried, I whispered your name before heaven's throne. Every time you thought you failed, I reminded heaven of your faith. You were never alone, not for 1 second. Their tone softens, breaking slightly with emotion. You are not the version who begged. You are the version who was sent. Sent to carry love differently. Sent to forgive deeply. Sent to live freely. I kept my promise. Now keep yours, to keep going. The light in the room pulses once, slow and rhythmic, like a heartbeat from another realm. You can sense the gate beginning to close. This time, you don't feel loss. You feel gratitude. The mission is complete. Michael says, every divine visitation has a seal, and this is yours. He raises his voice slightly, with heavenly authority. I seal your home in light. I seal your mind in truth. I seal your future in clarity. No voice of deception, no spirit of fear, no shadow of confusion will touch you again. The blood of divine covenant surrounds you. Walk in peace. You can almost hear the sound of wings, faint, distant, yet real. A holy hum fills the silence. Michael continues, within 48 hours, you'll receive confirmation, a dream, a message, a sudden peace that defies logic. When it happens, know this moment was not imagination. It was record. Heaven always confirms what it reveals. Type Amen 1111 if you receive that confirmation in faith right now. You wipe your eyes. It feels like years of spiritual fatigue have melted away. You realize something profound. Your loved one didn't return to reopen wounds. They came to restore your confidence in divine timing. Michael speaks again. The enemy wanted you numb, but heaven wanted you aware. You've passed through the fire, and now you carry light others will recognize. Your story will comfort those who thought the dead could not love them still. Tell them, love never dies, it transforms. You nod slowly, whispering, I understand. And as you speak, the air glows one last time. Your loved one's voice echoes faintly, when you see the light flicker, or the feather fall, or the breeze brush your face for no reason. That's me, reminding you we finished well. The atmosphere begins to fade, the holy tension loosening into peace. You can feel heaven withdrawing the veil, but not the connection. You know now it's eternal. Michael's voice lowers, soft and final. You are sealed. Protected. Released. Walk like it. Speak like it. Believe like it. You are proof heaven remembers love. A final rush of warmth passes over you, quick, intense, and gone. The silence that follows feels sacred. Type Amen 444 if you can feel the seal settling over your life right now. Then, one last whisper, from both Michael and the one who loved you most, this isn't coincidence. This is heaven remembering you. The light fades. The air clears. peace lingers. And though the message ends, the protection does not. Heaven has spoken. You are safe. You are chosen. You are seen. Forever. Subscribe now, because some messages find you for a reason.